Well, hello, good afternoon. How the devil are you? Gosh, I don't know what to say to you. But I went to a demonstration, a rally, festival. Um, and I just want to remind us all what far right means before I go into this, because I think it's very serious. Ethno-racial nationalism. Yep. So my argument is, when you say far right in this country, what you mean, what we all hear is Nazi, right? Nazi, far right. So in order to understand what people mean by far right when they just bandy it about, they mean like genocide, the other things that go along with it, genocide, racist, authoritarian. I don't think anyone thinks that the people they accuse of being far right are actually authoritarians. Do you remember the authoritarian kind of desire for free speech? So when we think about ethno-racial nationalism, that means like white people only. So we would be excluding Jews, Roma. Citizenship would be tied to a bloodline, not civic participation. I think that's definitely not what I saw on Saturday. The authoritarian dictatorship. So there was no opposition parties, censored the press, ruled through a single leader. No, I don't think that was appropriate or relevant on Saturday. Anti-liberal, anti-communist, anti-pluralist. So Nazis rejected liberal democracy. Anything that recognized individual or minority rights, individual freedoms were sacrificed for the good of all. So this was there was no room for compromise or coexistence. I don't think that was at all what I witnessed on Saturday. And militarism, and expansionism, which is glorifying violence, war, and conquest, and justified invading other nations. Now, let me tell you again. That's why I've told you that, because often when people say what is far right, well, it's anything these days. But I think that what a reasonable person hears, like if you want to sue someone for libel, what a reasonable person hears in the United Kingdom when you say far right is Nazi. And what a regular person thinks when they think of Nazi is genocide, right? That's what they think. They think authoritarianism and genocide. They think about the Aryan race. They don't think about someone who wants a small government. That's not what they think. So I think it's really important, whenever you hear people say far right, that we remember what they're talking about, and what they're talking about are Nazis. To me, so Sarah says, to me, far right means skinhead salutes and street fights. But what was the salute? It was the Nazi salute, wasn't it? They weren't walking around like that, were they? They were doing the Nazi salute. So, anyway, let's have a look at what this is on the right thing. Yes. Let's have a look at what a woman on Good Morning Britain said about this. I think, and the reason I'm showing this is because I think it's really interesting. The cognitive dissonance that goes on with this woman, I think, is common, and it should really make us all scared for the future of this country. But it's really common. It's common in the news. It's common on mainstream media. It's common at the dinner party set. It's common at the school gates of the more sort of expensive, nice areas, middle class. That this is the attitude that you have to fight against.
Our Ranveer, you were on your way into London, weren't you, on Saturday?
Yes.
And you met somebody who was going on that march.
Yes, it was really interesting. I changed my plans, which actually made me sad because I think, well, I should be allowed to go.
Can I just say, you don't say made me sad, you say made me feel sad. It's such a baby talk anyway. It's irrelevant, but it just annoys me. So this woman, on the basis of some people coming to march about illegal immigration, and what's been happening in this country and Pakistani grooming gangs and all the reasons that they met to talk about actually having a nation, right? That made her, as a brown woman, apparently that made her sad. That made her feel sad because she changed her plans.
Going to London and feel safe. I live here, it's my place. But I didn't take my son in, that made me.
I also want to say, as a woman that doesn't support Hamas, I haven't felt safe going into areas of London for a long time. As a woman who speaks in a park and likes free speech and wants women to be able to speak freely in London, I haven't felt safe for a really, really, really long time. Years, in fact.
Going to London and feel safe. I live here, it's my place. But I didn't take my son in, that made me sad. The fact that you think, oh, it's not safe.
Made me feel sad.
Safe for my little brown boy to be in London is a sad thing. But there you go.
Anyway, feel safe is very different to be safe. I am actually not safe. I have been unsafe. I haven't just felt unsafe. I have the experience to know that there's every likelihood that I will be unsafe. But anyway.
So you mean you think you weren't safe because of the colour of your skin?
I just didn't. Yeah, I didn't want him to be exposed to anything at Euston Station.
Like what? I'm just really interested. Like what? What? Anyway.
There was a lot of people there when we got there. Actually, it was interesting. At my local station, I was just queuing up to get a coffee, and the man in front of me was getting coffee from the guy who I think is Sri Lankan at the station. We all know him. He's been there for years. And lovely, a really jolly chap, white guy, said, oh, I'm going into London. I'm going to join the Tommy Robinson March. And he goes, and we just started chatting, the three of us.
Oh, my God. Wow, that's amazing. What a white man who was going to a march just started chatting. God, that just never happens, does it?
Which is, I think, what you need to do, interestingly. You do need to talk to people.
Mm-hmm. Interestingly, yeah, wow. She's just remarkable.
When you feel that they're on the opposite side to you. And he said, yeah, I'm curious to know how fascist these people really are. And my brother's a bit more far right, and I'm keeping an eye on him today. He said, I don't know how.
Do you reckon he said right, or do you reckon he said to a woman that he doesn't know that his brother's far right?
How the protest's going to go. The last one I went on was to Remain during Brexit, which again is flipping the idea of who you think they are on its head a little bit.
So, snap with the glasses, Susanna. Cheap pair from TK Maxx, if you're wondering. So she's just said she had preconceived ideas and she's been proven wrong twice already. So someone going to the march actually didn't turn around and want to, beat her up because she's a brown woman and was actually speaking to the Malaysian man or Sri Lankan, whatever she said, as if he's a human being too. Amazing. And then also said that he voted to Remain. So, it's almost like these are well-rounded kind of individuals all coming together under the banner of a cause that they agree with, but they might come from all different sides of all different sorts of issues.
And he goes, I'm worried about illegal migration, not all migration, just, it's the illegal thing. I'm going to go along. And he sort of was very upbeat and jolly. And we laughed about, the Remain thing. Did you go for a French wine and a German beer and an Italian meal? He said, yeah, we did, we joked. And actually, it was interesting because when he left, myself and the chap at the thing, we sort of we sort of gave each other a little grimace because I think the lovely man, I'm going to say he was a lovely man, even though he was going to a far-right march. Right?
See? That's why you were afraid, you absolute muppet. Because people like you said, I met him, he was a lovely man, but he was going to a far-right march. No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. Was it an authoritarian march? No. Was it an ethno-nationalist march? No. Was it anti-liberal, anti-pluralist, anti-communist? Might have been anti-communist, to be fair. But was it an anti-liberal, anti-pluralist? Was it about militarism and expansionism? No. Was it about genocide? No. So there's nothing that qualifies that march to be a far-right march. Was it was it anti-authoritarianism? Yes, because it was anti-Islam. And Islam is a really authoritarian cult that's also nationalistic, but global nationalistic. It's very exclusionary. It also has expansionism. Like, a key element of Islam is to go and take over countries and convert them to Islam. Just what I don't even. But she then maintained that it was a far-right march, which then meant that somebody else tuning in will continue to be afraid, even though she's had the experience that totally totally counters her preconceived ideas. What a lunatic.
Opinion, you're going to support someone like Tommy Robinson. That makes me deeply uncomfortable. But the point is, you have to feel the pinch and still have a conversation with someone. And we both sort of grimaced a little bit.
Right, let me just say this. Well, you know, I was with my I was somewhere, and there was a black man, and the woman behind the counter, you know, she was white, and we knew that black man was going to a Hamas Palestine march, and you know, he was black, and he was lovely, but you know, he was black. And after, me and the white woman just looked at each other and were like, oh, there was relief, because you know, it was a black man. Can you imagine getting away with saying that? Can you imagine anyone on the television today saying it was a Muslim, so I was frightened? It was a Muslim, so I was anticipating like a really scary person. I was uncomfortable. I was uncomfortable that Muslim was going to the Free Palestine. Like, me and this other white woman, we looked at each other.
Took a deep breath, and that was fine. And I posted it on Instagram because I cannot believe, I don't want to believe that 150,000 people are out and out racists.
But I am going to say that they are going to a far-right march.
That isn't my experience of this country.
Yeah.
So in my head, I just can't equate that monolith, that huge number of white faces with my experience.
And again, it wasn't just white faces. Honestly, what I would say to GB News, or whatever you're called, Good Morning Britain, what I would say to you is go to the fucking march. Why don't you go? Why don't you go and talk to people? I read something else in the New Statesman. Apparently, a shitty publication that gets like bloggers to write articles in it. They said that somebody said Zeke Heil. I don't believe you. I believe that more often what I saw in the march was people chatting, coming together, saying they felt it was magnificent, feeling united. I saw a whole different spectrum of people, from black, brown, Asian, like the whole. There wasn't a single kind of look of person that wasn't represented in the people marching for a better United Kingdom.
Experience in this country just doesn't seem right to me, and so that's why I posted, because I just thought, look, if there was a march that was, are you worried about illegal migration, it would be much smaller than that. If it was a march, are you worried about migration overall, it would be a different number to 100. If it was, are you an Islamophobe, are you an out-and-out racist, do you want England to be white only? There are so many nuances in those 150,000 people, and the worry for me is that somebody who has got a concern, that I might have concerns about illegal migration, right? My mum might have a concern about that. But that man feels that he's now only being heard and has to go and join the throng. And then you get corralled. And I worry about othering people who join the ranks.
Well, by calling them far right, do you mean? That sort of othering? By saying they were on a far right march when, again, there was nothing far right about that place. Clearly, in every march, in like containing, I don't know, 500,000. The estimates are from sort of 110,000, which is ridiculous, to more realistic of about 600,000, and then right up to 3 million. So I don't know how many people were there, but it was a lot. It's the biggest group of people I've ever been in. But them saying that that it was far right, you've othered those people, because then every person that says I went because, you're suggesting that these people who have these concerns are just a bit thick. And if they meet some terrible, terrifying person in that crowd that says something unpalatable, that's going to be okay. And they're going to go, do you know what? Never actually thought about killing huge numbers of people before. But now that I've met some rabid, rancid, kind of despicable person who loves a bit of genocide, denies the Holocaust, I'm persuaded. I'm persuaded now, and I'm actually the Chinese that we get every Friday night. I'd like to firebomb the whole takeaway now. So, but you know, I mean, I wouldn't have come across those ideas.
And the voice that they end up being spoken for and by is someone who is very extreme. So it was just, to me.
Yes, it is very extreme. It is very extreme to speak about Pakistani, Muslim, paedophile rape gangs. It's very extreme. Do you know what? What she doesn't know is, in order to be brave enough to speak about those things when people weren't speaking about them, you've got to really not give a shit what people think about you. It takes a really special sort of person. And I'm happy to put myself in that category. But it takes a really special sort of person to come along and to say the unsayable. Right? And when you do it from a working class background, with a working class vocabulary and occasionally a working class temper, and you don't know the law of the game, which is stay calm, never, you can't put a foot wrong. You always have to say the right thing at the right time, in the right temperature, with the right tone. Like, when you don't do that, because the thing that you're doing is not for power or status, but it's because you genuinely believe it to be the best thing to do, and you can't rest while this particular evil is going on, that is what these people don't understand. That's what none of these people understand, because they wouldn't do it. They wouldn't speak against it. So that's why when you are that person, you don't mind having arrows in your back. You will still walk with arrows in your back, because you know that it is the right thing to do. And that does make you sometimes not perfect in the way that you phrase things, not perfect in your decision making. You get to a point, I expect, where you're like, fuck it. I mean, often people have criticized me for the things I say, but I rarely apologize unless I get something totally wrong, which is very, very, very rare. But that's what these people don't understand. Your heroes don't come perfect. They're not perfectly kind of packaged in this polite kind of get everything right little parcel. They're not. They're going to be people that are on the outside, which is why they can stand tall and do the right thing.
It was the nuance of it, and it's very difficult, because the point being that for someone, anybody of my colour skin today,
who were there, loads of people with your colour skin were walking on the march.
You have to work against your instinct of fear. There was a Sikh woman who was racially raped in the West Midlands. It's being investigated.
Hundreds of thousands of white girls. I wonder if it's ever been called racially raped. Hundreds of thousands of white girls, predominantly white girls, and some Sikh girls, that the Sikh community came together and sorted it out. Predominantly white girls who were called whores and slags, white whores. Do you think she's ever used the word racially raped before.
And so, you know, it's a live case, but that is out there in the public domain. She's a Sikh woman. She has given a statement about it. Her evidence to the police is, I was told, you don't belong in this country. Right? That's a live investigation. That's where we'll leave it. I'm a Sikh woman. The climate we live in makes me nervous, but you have to work against your fear.
Ranveer, were you surprised at the way...
Also, I'd like to know what the Church of England thinks about Christianity being evoked, actually, because I'd like to hear what they think about their faith being used.
Were you surprised?
Well, I'll tell you what they think. They'll probably come out on the wrong side of it. That's what they'll do. They won't do what Jesus would do. Let's put it that. Not the Church of England. They won't do that. Is this woman trying to say that only some people are allowed to use Jesus and go to church and talk about the Lord? Really? Seems very... Maybe she's never, ever read anything about Christianity. Pretty sure the idea is that as many people come to Jesus as possible. They have their come to Jesus moment. As many as possible.
Surprised at the way this gentleman spoke to you at the weekend?
I was I surprised? No, I wasn't. No. I was relieved. And
it's unbelievable. She was totally wrong about everything. She was totally wrong about the entire exchange. And at the end of it, she hasn't once said, you know, I was completely wrong. I had no reason to fear this man. Well, let's see if she's got a few seconds.
It felt good to talk. And it felt good to talk to him because I think it confirmed my desire to believe that people feel frustrated, but that doesn't mean they despise anybody who's brown.
Well, she kind of got there in the end. But this is what we're talking about, isn't it? This is what we're talking about. You know, they're not on the news. They're not going to talk about the left shouting Charlie's in a box. They're not going to talk about that stupid guy who shouted about Charlie Kirk being dead and what he said. They're not going to talk about any of those things. I don't know. Have they talked about it? I don't watch the program, so maybe I'm just wrong. But there is this woman got it all wrong. She was completely wrong. What I saw people walking next to each other, all different races. Clearly, I mean, it was a predominantly white faces, but we're in a predominantly white country. And it's people talking about the country in which they live, but even just amongst the press and the VIPs and the people talking and like backstage, even amongst those people, there were people of all different nationalities and races. It's just really crap that she has to do this. It's just patently untrue. So if you want to know what happened at the march, there are plenty of people with brown skin, plenty of people from all different walks of life talking about why they went and what their experience was. So it's nuts. But these people are the dividers. They're the divisive ones. They want to rely on you not looking at Twitter. Oh, and then I watched... Oh, in a bit of punishment to myself, I watched a bit of James O'Brien. Oh, let me just find it because I think he's such a spanner, and he really doesn't get it at all. So I'm gonna have a little bit of him. Let's just see. Oh, I do loathe him so much. Oh, he's blocked me, so let's have a look. I don't want to go to that account because they always steal people's content. So I don't want to. Oh, come on. LBC. But basically, what he was saying is something about Elon Musk. And he didn't get it that he was wrong at all. I knew I should have saved it. Ow, PC. No. Oh, I should have queued it up. That was my stupid fault. I knew I should have saved it. James O'Brien. Oh, here we go. He's so awful, but this is great. This truly is wonderful. Let's do it. Let's do a bit of O'Brien. Let's there we go. Ready?
That's the irony, isn't it? There's 110,000 people marching through London saying whatever the hell they want, waving flags and shouting things and claiming that their free speech is under threat.
Because warning sign, I'm about to. Because, you fucking prick, 30 people a week are being arrested for their speech. That's why. Because loads of them have been arrested for their speech. So they're going out on the street so they can exercise their right to free speech, because in so many places they don't have it. They've had people knocking on the door. They've had a woman locked up in prison for a couple of years because she said a mean tweet.
I mean, you don't even need to be snobby about it, and I wouldn't want to be snobby.
Yeah, you do. Otherwise, you wouldn't qualify it with you don't need to be snobby, because you are, clearly. Oh, dear.
Snobby about it, because Kemi Badenoch's writing in the Daily Mail today about free speech being under threat, and you sort of think, well, I mean, imagine what it would be like if you couldn't just phone up the editor of the Daily Mail and ask.
She's not saying her free speech, you absolute bellend, is she? She's not saying, oh, me, leader of the Conservative Party, my free speech is under threat. If one person doesn't have access to free speech, then we don't have free speech in this country, you complete moron. I mean, I don't want to be an intellectual snob about this, but you are a bit thick.
Ask for half a page to share whatever splurges it is that you're worried about today, because that doesn't look to me like somebody whose free speech is under threat. Some person gets his collar felt at the airport because he's posted some pretty stupid tweets. If he's waking up in jail for life, then...
Fucking what? So he's saying, this is what he says about Glinner. Some person
gets his collar felt at the airport because he's posted some pretty stupid tweets.
Oh, so we do have free speech, but if you tweet some stupid things, you should expect 5 officers to come to the airport and arrest you off a fucking plane. But you have got free speech. And now you wait for sort of 16 hours in a cell or whatever it was, 7 hours in a cell. So that the fear of having 5 armed officers come and arrest you off a plane because of some stupid tweets, you've still got free speech. Oh, Jesus Christ.
If he's waking up in jail for life...
See, he realised then that what he was going to say was absolutely beyond stupid, didn't he? He caught himself there. He thought, oh, I'm going to say that's still free speech. So I better say, if you're in jail for life. What about if you're in a prison cell for 6 hours? What about if you get really high blood pressure and you feel your health is under threat? What about just having 5 armed officers on a fucking aeroplane for some things you said on Twitter?
Then our free speech is under threat. If you're having your interventions in public life unnecessary, in my opinion, and traumatic, I'm sure, it doesn't exactly speak of a nationwide problem or a nationwide threat.
Yes, it does. You're either in a country with free speech or you're not. But even if it was only Graham Linehan who had been interviewed and hounded, or even if it's just me, I've been arrested once, I've had the police at my door, and I've been interviewed under caution on 3 occasions. Even if I was the only person, you can't actually say that this country has free speech. And when you're waiting to the 3 or 4 months to see if you're charged, like, that is a punishment, you fucking dick.
That's the irony, isn't it? There's a
That's the irony, isn't it? That's the irony. Oh, isn't that ironic? Isn't that really ironic? No, James, it's not. There's no irony in that. Oh, and here's
owner of Twitter. Do you think people are possibly trying to control the flow of information for shall I read you?
ready.
Shall I read you a question that Stephen Yaxley Lennon asked the owner of Twitter?
I love the fact they say Stephen Yaxley Lennon as if his real name means that he's like middle class or something, and Tommy Robinson is like a disguise. I don't know where Tommy Robinson comes from. I don't know where that name comes from. I know where mine comes from, and then people roll out my name as if, well, nobody could really argue that. Anyway, double barrel names often, unless they're like fucking Robertson Smiles or whatever, are working class people pretending to be middle class.
On stage on Saturday. Do you believe, he said, that there are powerful forces outside of elected officials, someone controlling governments that are trying to control the flow of information?
Yes. Like BlackRock. Like shadowy multinationals, like Bill Gates buying up loads of farmland. That's what he's talking about, James, but I'm sure James talks about that all the time. And X is a free speech platform. I'm not fucking monetized still. I can't even tell you how upsetting that is. I'm still not monetized. And I found out today that I think even if they change their mind, I won't get any back pay.
Oh, Mr. Owner of Twitter, do you think people are possibly trying to control the flow of information for the people?
It's literally, you can say what you like on the platform. It's not the same. You're so thick, James. You're so thick.
Yes, I do. And I mean, you have to ask yourself, what could their incentive possibly be? Am I going nuts, or is
Yes. Well, you're just a bit thick.
that the stupidest stroke funniest thing you've heard all week?
No. The stupidest, funniest thing I could hear all week is that you lose your job. I mean, I wouldn't wish that on anyone except you.
It's only 11 o'clock on Monday, so the bar is low. I'm going to interview the owner of Twitter, and I'm going to ask him whether he's worried about people trying to flow control.
Yeah, because he is into free speech. Now, we don't know really whatever's going on with Elon. We don't know what access he has to government, but we do know that we saved them a lot of money, and we do know that there was a really healthy kind of distance between his involvement in government stuff and not. So I'm just saying that you are thick, James.
Control the flow of information. Are you worried about unelected people trying to control the... Why did you buy Twitter, mate?
Because he believed in free speech. That's why. And what Twitter was doing before it was X, what Twitter was doing was cancelling loads of people's free speech. So, God, he's terrible, isn't he? He's terrible. Yeah, that's all I want to say. Oh, also, let me just say this. I don't do this often. Well, not as often as I should. I have made a promise to my children today after Charlie Kirk was attacked. Murdered, assassinated. And I've promised my children that if I can't afford personal security, then I'm not going to do events. Now, I want to do events. I have reason to think that I will raise enough money to do the events. But my children, my family comes before anything else, and my youngest son has admitted that he's really worried. And so I've made that promise to him. So let me just say, for fuck's sake, will you buy some merch? You can donate if you want, but buying some merch is better. It spreads the word around. It means that the message continues to reach everyone. But I need to, like, if I do 2 events a month, I need a couple of grand. So from now until Christmas, I need 2, 4, I need about £8,000. So that's what I need. And if I don't do that, I will start cancelling events. But Hyde Park is always going to be the events that don't get cancelled. And obviously, we work with the police everywhere. But yeah, I've just got to say that you need to buy some merch. Look, I'll tell you what I don't have. I don't have a fairy godmother. All the people that had the old subscriptions, so had been paying for a long time, we lost everything. Some retook it up, but all the old subscriptions we just completely lost because I got debanked. The American store is too difficult to operate because we got debanked. So we did used to have a platform where we would manage everything from here, but everything was going out from the United States. So we won. So that's a revenue stream gone. You know, it's just been it's been an uphill struggle. And look, I'm bringing out some amazing merch from now until Christmas so that you can get all your Christmas gifts. But look at that. Look at that. That's a nice suffragette union flag scarf. How nice is that? But anyway, yeah, Linda, exactly. 556 people watching. If everyone gave a fiver, I mean, if everyone gave a tenner, that'd be nearly £6,000. That'd be amazing. So, yeah, I do a women's thing as well. I tell you what, women, it's more tricky doing a woman thing because often I think women have other things in their kind of what they want to give money to. I think it's very different to men. And yeah, I'll explain that in greater detail at some point. So, yes. Just go to the merch store. It's pretty damn amazing. And you can get yourself something nice, and then I can afford security. So look, if you can keep speaking up because you know that it's the right thing to do, then I promise we will win. If you can, you better have gone into your kid's school. If you can go in your children's school and look them in the eye and sort it out, then I promise we will win. And do you know why else is going to win? Well, because I never lose. Who can say